I'm sure you've heard this before. Renting is just throwing money away. Your friends, family, society, they all say the same thing. And yet, I'm here to tell you that this so-called truth is exactly what's holding you back from financial freedom. When I was 22, I almost fell for it. You know what I'm talking about, right? The dream of owning a home. My parents swore by it. It's the best investment you'll ever make, they said. Society, same thing. Everywhere I looked, it seemed like buying a home was a milestone of adulthood, the proof you'd made it. But here's the thing, they were wrong. And if you don't figure out the truth about renting versus buying, you could end up drowning in debt, stuck in a house you don't even want, all because you bought into someone else's version of success. So today, I'm going to tell you the truth about renting and buying. A truth most people won't admit. And stick around, because by the end of this video, I'll show you how to avoid these traps and use your money to build real wealth instead. Before we dive into the brutal truth, let's be clear about one thing. Renting and buying have their own place. It's not about good versus bad. It's about what works for you right now. Let me take you back to my early 20s again. At that time, I was obsessed with owning property. It felt like every successful person owned something. Business people, influencers, even my broke friends were scraping together cash for down payments. Owning a second home seemed like the only way to build wealth. But I didn't realize that renting could be a tool, not a trap. Here's the deal. Renting gives you freedom. You're not tied to one place. You can move for work, for relationships, for better opportunities. Whereas buying, on the other hand, it gives you equity. Over time, your payments go towards something you own. Here's the kicker though. What society doesn't tell you is that buying isn't always better. Renting can save you from committing to something before you're ready. And sometimes the flexibility is worth far more than owning a house. And that brings me to the next thing that nobody talks about. How your stage of life makes all the difference. Let me share another story with you. A friend of mine, we'll call him James, bought a house at 26. Everyone thought he was crushing it. His Instagram was full of pictures. New homeowner, big smile, set of keys, great. But fast forward 3 years and James was miserable. He'd switched jobs from a different city, but couldn't sell his house without losing money. Meanwhile, his mortgage payments were eating up most of his paycheck alive. Here's a lesson James learned the hard way. Buying a home too early can trap you. It's a huge financial decision that needs to match your goals, your income, but most importantly, your stage of life. Here's how it breaks down. In your 20s and early 30s, renting is your best friend. You're still figuring out your career, maybe moving to new cities, and let's be real, most of us don't even have cash for a big down payment. In your 30s and 40s, if you've got a stable income and a solid plan to stay put, buying could make much more sense, but only if it fits your long-term goals. And let's say you're in retirement, renting can take the stress off your plate. No repairs, no surprises, just a predictable monthly payment. But let me guess, you're thinking, okay, renting makes sense, but isn't buying always the smarter financial move in the long run? That's where the real debate begins. So this is a part that most people don't typically want to hear. Renting can actually make you richer than buying in some cases. Think about it. If you're renting, you're not actually locked into a 30-year mortgage. You're not paying for a new roof when it leaks or covering property taxes that seem to go up every single year. Instead, you've got cash flow, money that you can invest into things with higher returns, like stocks or businesses or even yourself. Let me put it in this way. Imagine you've got $50,000 saved. If you dump that into a house, you're tied to that property. But if you rent and invest that $50,000 wisely, it could grow into hundreds of thousands or even millions over time. And if you're still not convinced, let's look at the data. Here's what the number says, and quite frankly, psychology says. In the US, on average, renting is 38% cheaper than buying. In cities like Los Angeles or New York, renters can save over $1 million in 30 years compared to homeowners. That's money that you could be saving or even potentially investing. If you live in Ireland, where I live in, the cost of buying has skyrocketed with many people unable to afford the down payment. Renting is just not an option, it's a necessity for most young professionals. Okay, so let's say you live in Dubai. A staggering 87% of residents rent, and for good reason. The transient workforce values flexibility over tying themselves to a single property. So now let's go to my home country, India. Owning a home is still a cultural expectation, but in cities like Mumbai, the math often makes renting the smarter choice due to skyrocketing property prices. Renting typically reduces stress. Studies show homeowners often face anxiety from unpredictable expenses like repairs and rising taxes, while renters enjoy predictable costs and more peace of mind. So if renting is such a smart move, why does society still push us buying so hard? Well, let's bring it all together. Here's what they don't tell you. Renting isn't throwing money away. It's buying freedom and flexibility. And for many of us, especially in our 20s and 30s, that's worth more than buying a house. The real wealth isn't in owning property. It's in making smart decisions with your money. That could mean renting, investing in yourself, or using your cash to start a business. But now, it's your move. Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Click the next video to learn how to build real wealth and maybe even become a millionaire in 2025. I'll see you there.